In Stillmera, time does not belong to everyone equally. Some lives pass as they always have, brief and unremarkable. Others stretch onward, bound not by years but by blood. Children are not merely born here, they are anchors, linking the living to the living, generation after generation, in chains that do not easily break. This is not a world of loud magic. There are no spoken spells, no visible signs, no sudden miracles. The power of Stillmera works quietly, relentlessly, through families. It halts age. It carries grief. It accumulates weight. And it does so whether believed in or not. As a result, lineage is law. Birth is politics. Loss is never solitary. Kingdoms rise not on land or armies, but on the continuity of bloodlines, and wars are fought not for territory, but for endings. The people of Stillmera do not agree on what this means. Some deny the burden and call it weakness. Some attempt to manage it, regulate it, soften its edges. Some accept it fully and choose restraint, even mortality. All are shaped by it. The stories that follow are fragments of this world, voices drawn from courts and archives, from riverbanks and bakeries, from balconies and back rooms. Each tells the truth as it is lived in one place, by one person, under the same quiet laws. Together, they form no single history, only a view. This is Stillmera. 1. The ink that outlives flesh. Perspective, a senior genealogical registrar in Lexus, elite bureaucratic class. The bell of Lexus rang once, slow and precise, the sound of authority rather than warning. Aurelius Varn did not look up. He was counting births. Ink first. Breath second. That was the order of things. The child had been born at dawn, in Aurelia Minor, to a woman whose lineage stretched back 7 recorded generations. The witnesses were solid. The blood signatures matched. The ink dried cleanly. Somewhere in the capital, a woman had stopped aging. Aurelius dipped his quill again. The archives were cool, stone thick enough to keep summer and winter equally at bay. Shelves rose higher than the eye could comfortably follow, stacked with the weight of centuries. Names, dates, unions, deaths, except not deaths, not really. Not here. In Aurelia, death by age was an administrative event, not a certainty. He had been born into this work. Everyone here was. His mother still lived, unchanged since her 15th year, preserved by the simple fact that Aurelius and his siblings breathed. His grandfather, however, had begun to stoop again. A gap in the chain. An old tragedy, officially recorded, politely forgotten. Rule 1 was the spine of the realm. Everyone knew this. Even the illiterate farmers understood that children were anchors, that blood was proof. The crown itself rested on an unbroken line, traced, witnessed, reaffirmed at every birth of consequence. Rule 3 was a rumor. A weakness. A slander spoken by those who could not carry their own weight. Aurelius had never written that down. Yet sometimes, late in the day, when the lamps burned low and the ink smelled sharp, he would pause over the oldest entries. The origin names. The first links. Their handwriting was erratic. Pressed too hard into the parchment. As if the hand had trembled. He would feel it then, a tightness behind the eyes, a weariness without cause. He blamed age, though he had not aged in decades. Outside, Aurelia thrived. The capital gleamed white and gold. Processions passed. Children laughed in courtyards already claimed by politics. Inside Lexus, the chain grew longer. Aurelius recorded another birth. He did not record the ache in his chest. No ledger had room for that. 2. Bread for the undying. Perspective, a river district baker in Nix, lower urban class, undocumented bloodlines. Nix woke before the sun, because the river demanded it. Toma kneaded dough with hands scarred by heat and time. He had been old when his first child was born. He was old still. He did not know why. People said different things about men like him. Some whispered that his children had died, quietly, somewhere he wouldn't speak of. Others said he had never truly had any. In Nyx, truth was a flexible thing. The bread ovens roared to life as the fog lifted from the water. Boats slid past, heavy with grain and rumor. Nyx did not care about documents. Nyx cared about movement. If you stayed, you belonged. If you left, you vanished. Toma had stayed. His daughter worked the stall beside him, hair tied back, eyes sharp. She did not look like him. No one ever really did, after a while. Children were proof, yes, but proof of what? Of life? Of leverage? Of delay? He had seen nobles come through Nyx, faces smooth as polished stone, escorted by guards half their apparent age. He had seen them flinch when a child cried too loudly. Seen their hands shake when news traveled upriver. Rule 1 was spoken aloud here, sometimes with reverence, sometimes with spite. Immortality for her parents. Stability for her bloodlines. Fine words. Rule 2 lived quietly in the slums. Grief traveled upward. Everyone knew that, even if they couldn't name it. When a child starved, their mother broke first. When a mother broke, the household followed. Rule 3 was felt in the bones. Too many cousins. Too many mouths. Too many lives tied together until one loss shook them all. Toma's wife had died in an accident, years ago. A fall. The river took her. After that, something in him sagged inward. Not age, no, time had no claim on him yet, but wait. He woke tired, slept poorly, and carried a tightness in his chest that never quite eased. His hands ached more when the ovens ran hot. His breath shortened faster than it used to. People mistook it for growing old. Toma knew better. This was not time returning. This was loss settling in. His daughter handed a loaf to a passing courier. Their fingers brushed. He felt nothing unusual. No pull. No certainty. Eat while it's warm, she said. Toma watched her turn away, strong and alive and entirely her own person. In Aurelia, chains defined power. In Nyx, they defined survival. He went back to kneading dough. The river kept flowing. The world endured. 3. The weight of the crown's smile. Perspective, a young noblewoman, distantly linked to the ruling chain, high aristocracy. Lady Stillmera had practiced her smile since childhood. It was the kind that reassured crowds. The kind that suggested continuity. The kind that said, nothing is wrong. She stood on the balcony of Aurelia Major, overlooking the central square where banners snapped in the wind. Below her, citizens gathered to witness the announcement of another birth within the extended royal line. Applause rose on cue. Somewhere, far above her in the genealogies, the first parent still lived. Stillmera had never met them. She was a distant link. One of many. Useful enough to be acknowledged, distant enough to be expendable. Her name appeared on scrolls in Lexis, inked carefully, but rarely spoken aloud. When the herald announced the child, Stillmera felt it, a flicker of warmth, quickly gone. Or perhaps it was fatigue. She had been tired for years now, despite her youth. Rule 1 made Aurelia eternal. That was the teaching. Rule 3 was treasonous nonsense. And yet, at night, Stillmera dreamed of rooms full of voices. Laughter layered over crying. Triumph tangled with loss. She woke with her heart racing, emotions that did not belong to her clinging like fog. Her tutors said it was nerves. Her mother said it was sensitivity. The physicians said nothing at all. She had seen what happened when distant cousins died suddenly. The court grew sharp-edged. Decisions turned erratic. The king, unchanged in body, would retreat for days, eyes hollow, temper brittle. They called it stress. Selena called it witnessing. She straightened her posture as the crowd cheered again. The child had been accepted. The chain held. The realm was safe. Her smile did not falter. But inside, she felt the weight of countless lives pressing gently, endlessly, inward. A burden too diffuse to name. Too sacred to question. Aurelia would endure. Of that, there was no doubt. The question, never spoken aloud, was what it was becoming in the process.